Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
We'll be giving everybody just 30 seconds to 1 minute before we make a start. Lovely to see the people streaming in. But yes, just when the clock strikes 1 minute past, we will make a start. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for coming over lunch to discuss this topic with us.
Yeah, thanks for the attendees so far.
And
a couple.
As we are at 1 minute past, I'm just going to make a start based on time. So welcome everybody to Portaltech Reply's webinar of accelerating the shift from traditional to futuristic sales models in B2B. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, first of all, we'll just do a brief introduction into who myself and Will are. Then we'll do an introduction into Reply, in more depth Portaltech Reply, which is who we are. And then we will be talking a bit about B2B commerce and the traditional and future of that. And then what we'll be doing is we'll be showing you an online shop that we have built and discuss our approach based on use cases. And then what we'll do is we will open the floor to some Q&As. So first of all, who are we? So I'll introduce myself first. I'm Cameron Smith. I go by Cam, and I am a business analyst here at Portaltech Reply and a customer experience expert as well. I've had years of experience both working within consulting, implementation, and within industry, both with clients from a B2B and a B2C perspective, both as a BA and a product manager. I've worked within a lot of implementation and strategy projects, and I really excel in problem solving, building strategy, working with people, and really coming up with solutions. So I'll pass over to Will to give a brief intro into you.
William Rodeo, front-end lead at Portaltech Reply. I've got over 6 years experience of e-commerce and web development, and I've worked with clients from various industries such as energy, the retail, entertainment, pharmaceutical industries. I've been involved in projects delivering and elevating for those user engagement, user experiences, and personalization. Passionate about technology, latest trends, understanding users, and developing applications.
So we'll just give a brief introduction about Reply. So Reply is an Italian, let's say, parent company of over 130 plus companies, one of them being Portaltech Reply. We have a vast amount of capabilities, and we'll be discussing in a little bit more depth what Portaltech does in a second. And we have 15,000 employees worldwide, and last year in 2023, our revenue was 2.1 billion euros. So who is Portaltech Reply, you'll be asking? So we are a group of SAP and commerce experts. As you can see here on the screen, we have quite a lot of statistics about who we are, what we have, how we're certified, and so on. But what gives us the authority to speak more about the trends and B2B commerce in this context is we have a huge amount of experience from omnichannel implementation. We have experience working with a vast amount of organizations from different industries, going from just domestic all the way through to international rollouts, but also really been helping companies grow and succeed. And also, we would just like to announce that we formalized a partnership with Shopify. So we're expanding outside of our SAP capability, and we're scaling ourselves up really quickly on expertise with Shopify as well. So as you can see here, just some of the services that we provide. So again, we've discussed consulting, implementation, But again, from circumstances where you have a current platform, a current commerce platform, we have experience with migration. That's something that we're continuing to build on, but also providing performance automation, these types of testing and support post projects. So enough with the formalities of who we are, but what we'll be doing now is we'll just be having a quick discussion around the context of what the B2B traditional sales model looks like. So first of all, I think I want to discuss this nice quote first of all. So digital transformation in B2B commerce isn't just a trend, it's a necessity for survival in an increasingly competitive market. It's about leveraging technology to enhance human connection and not replace it. So there's two aspects that I want to kind of decipher here. So the first of all is digital transformation is something that we cannot avoid, especially given if we look back in the past, like within like the phone market, for example, those brick phones that we all used to use 15 years ago, that they don't exist anymore. And like, again, it's constantly changing. But also as well, it's about enhancing human connection. I think a lot of people are quite afraid of digital transformation, of these buzzwords, AI, etc. But what we're here to do is to make people's lives easier, both from a sales perspective as well as a user's perspective. So moving on to the next slide, what is the traditional sales model? What does it look like? So again, we've kind of got some 4 key components here. It works directly with the producers who work with wholesales and distributors who then traditionally would have partnerships or be going physically onto premises to have those face-to-face sales, and those catalog sales would be done again from a purely, like, let's say, physical marketing and sales perspective. So as you can see here, we have 5 steps, being non-digital sales, sales reps engage and then promote products via the traditional, let's say, means. Then order, so that's split into order initiations and order process. Now just touching on some personal experience. An order initiation that I witnessed when I worked in industry was when I was following a salesperson. The order was handed to them at the back of an old envelope for a bank statement. So again, quite a long, tedious process, having to like manually upload that order and go through those bureaucratic long processes. And then again, that process is like manually checked with ERPs, enterprise retail platforms, CRM, etc. And then the last 2 points here, traditional CRM and services, again, older means of using call centers and mail to provide relations, or going and actually seeing them face to face, having those appointments, and also data availability is quite fragmented. So thinking about knowing about your product, knowing about changes, but also knowing who your customer is, how your customer has interacted with the business before, are things that are really important. So what we've done is we've kind of brought together some pain points that we're going to be discussing in a little bit more detail when we're actually demoing and showing you what our online shop that we have built. But we'll just touch on some of these pain points. So again, we've touched on long sales cycles, customer retention, CRM. So like knowing when your customer has interacted, what your customer has bought, etc. But then thinking as well about long ordering processes, lead generation, having to show them products in a more slow and manual perspective when they could see it right in front of them in the digital world. Also, being able to provide the right pricing at the right time to the right customers is something that's crucial, and being able to show customers information on demand when they need it, but also from a self-serve perspective, so they can go back and refer to that. And then something as well that's really important nowadays, especially within the world we live in, integrations is something that's really important. And again, it's something that we can show, improve, and discuss in the demo. So moving on, what does traditional to digital sales look like? So again, what's changing here? So customer expectations are changing. I mean, they've already changed in the B2C context. We go into Amazon every day. We want a better, quick, convenient experience. We want to order something there, have it tomorrow. Technology changes exceeding our ability to adapt. Thinking again about the phone example, what phones looked like 15 years ago, the company who was the lead company 15 years ago isn't that anymore. Competition is growing fiercer. If you look about the med tech market, for example, again, there's huge examples of companies that focus on smaller aspects, smaller components, but then partner with other companies, really go against some of the big conglomerates that traditionally used to dominate those spaces. And then finally, something that I think we all know is financial pressure. We're always trying to do more with less, especially given the context that we're living in today. So what does success look like? So enhance customer experience, ride the wave of technology change, understand your market and optimize your financials. So that is retain your customers by providing the best user experience. That's something that we at Portaltech really strive to understand is how do we make the best user experience? And that's how we interact with our clients. Ride the wave of technology change, integrate CRM, legacy platforms, make the data valuable and make it consistent. Understand your market. So that's also understanding who your customer is, understanding how your sales work. What do those sales interactions look like? How do you optimize those? And finally, how do you optimize your financials? How do you increase revenues by making those long, tedious processes something that you can automate and make quicker and actually make those moments that have value far more valuable? So how do we empower B2B commerce with the digital sales model from a manufacturing perspective? Today, we're going to be discussing about e-commerce platforms. And this is the online shop that we have built. But in saying that, there are other aspects that we need to look at, such as direct customer engagement, feedback, unification of CRM, which we will be discussing as well, and also data analytics. That's something that we need to discuss and something that always should underpin what we've been doing. So enough with the context, enough with setting the scene. And before I conclude and pass over to Will, what we've done is we've created a purely hypothetical online shop here, particularly within the manufacturing industry. Now, we've used a med tech company, hypothetical, because it's close to my heart. I have type 1 diabetes and I've had it for 20 years, more than 20 years actually, and really seeing the change within that industry has inspired our approach. And what we've done is we have done it how we would typically do a project. We've built this online shop how we would typically do a project. But before that, I'll pass over to Will to kind of discuss in a bit more detail how we did that.
Hey guys, so yeah, with the store that we're going to demonstrate to you guys, we've used the storefront, and we've configured everything according to the industry, which in this case is a medical industry, and we've created product catalogs, and from that we've put together this demonstration, which I hope you guys will appreciate.
So before we go into the demo, what we'll do is we'll just kind of discuss each use case. So we have 3 use cases. The first use case is our classic purchase journey. Now, this is something, again, where user experience really is everything. And some of the pain points here are long processes, long ordering processes, having that limited product information or being able to go back and find out more about the product, and also data silos in terms of integrations. So some of the opportunities that we'll be looking at is security and integrating with platforms, really having an amazing UX, and also being able to personalize and utilize data as and when you need it. So, Will, pass over to you.
Thank you. Let's head over to the demo. So I think just elaborating a little bit more on how this store was built. It was, as mentioned, everything is configured from, and it's quite effortless to be able to configure such stores according to the requirements. And so without further ado, I would like to demonstrate how efficient, how fast, and the values of being able to have a store that allows you to place an order, log in securely, and explore the integrations and the benefits of integrating such things as CRM from legacy systems. So I'll demonstrate that now. So from what you can see, we've got a login form here, so we can securely log in, and it will take us through to the account overview page, I'll discuss a little bit later in our other use case, the benefits of being able to redirect to a dashboard such as account overview. But for the sake of the demo and the use case that we are trying to show you guys, I'd like to go to the product listing page. So the pain points is availability and visibility of the products. So having ways to be able to clearly see and understand what products you're buying. This is what this is what we've managed to demonstrate for you guys. And everything here is configurable, such as the facets, which is the ways to categorize and filter things. So this is configured depending on what the business needs, depending on the use case, who is the user logged in, which categories do we show them. So there are multiple features in the product listing page. As you can see here, we have the ways to be able to show the products in a grid manner, or we can toggle between grid to listing. And we also have a way to be able to sort. So not limited to the sorting order that you can see here. If you have different requirements, if there are different requirements for the business, those can be configured.
I think it's down to user experience as well. Like, again, different users have different requirements. Sometimes people will know what they want straight away, or if they want to actually like scroll through a list, and they have that ability to do so. So again, that's something that, again, we're always trying to focus to achieve, is really finding that perfect UX for
exactly user experience, right? And one more thing is the pagination. So we've got the pagination here at the bottom. If you wanted to put the pagination at top, that's easily configurable. So what we've got is the product listing and the product information, and more importantly, a way to be able to add this product into the cart. So if I click on that, it will be added into the cart. So if I just add that, I can go straight to the cart page or proceed to the checkout. And also a way to add or increase or decrease the quantities for this product. I won't go straight into the cart page because I want to show you other features that you have options to configure, such as the navigations and searchability. So I want to search for a particular product, and I know the name of this product. I can just do a search and go straight into this product. And here I've got options to view the media library of this product and descriptions. And just one thing that other things that can be configured for the product detail page is things such as the comparing the products, for example. So there may be a point where you wanted to compare between different products. Those can be configured. What we've got at the bottom here is related products. So anything relevant to this product, you can add those, quickly add them into the cart here. But like as mentioned, there are other features that you can introduce, which is to have comparison between products, and also
we could also do product recommendations based on user data and based on the way how they interact with the platform. We are able to show them recommended products based on their previous history, etc.
So I'm going to just add this product into the cart, and then I'm going to go and head over to the cart page. So the cart page, with the cart page, there are features, there's functionalities on the cart page that you can see here. Features such as being able to save the cart for later. So if you wanted to save this cart and come back to it when you have time to proceed to checkout, then you can do so here. There's ways to import products. That can be multiple products in a spreadsheet. If you know the product IDs, you can just import them here or export them. And there's other different features, functionalities that you can introduce here. But I think more importantly is the personalization and configuration of the pricing. So we can take, from other systems where there are order pricing, you can integrate them for your pricing on a cart. and the tags can be configured. So all those features are handy to know and configurable.
I mean, there's so many things you can do with that, such as stock indication, tax, pricing, really understanding the customer data and making sure that that data is flowing onto the online shop. Essentially, it's a very interactive experience and very personalized as well.
Yeah, and also another one is subscriptions. Actually, I forgot to mention about subscriptions or being able to reorder. I'll show you in a little bit more about regarding to reorder. That feature is really handy, and things like subscriptions, those are configurable with the systems, you know. So I'm going to proceed to the checkout. I will discuss about the quick order later on. So there's just a widget that allows you to place another item into your cart. So if you had, your product ID, but this can be configured to be a search, the same as this search functionality we have here. You search for the product name and you type it here, it will just appear and you can add those into the cart. Anyway, I'm gonna proceed to the checkout. So in the checkout, so this can be configured to apply things such as credits. So if there are credits that the account can use, they can be applied here, can be integrated for any payment provider. So those all can be integrated. And this is good for things like budgeting, right? So if there's budgets for a particular B2B unit or particular account that's all been budgeted for, you kind of just place credit for them, and then they can just proceed to place the order, given they have money into the account. All right, so I'm just gonna continue. So I'm happy with the actual shipping address and all the information that's here. Maybe a standard delivery. And here, I just want to review the order itself.
I think it's worth mentioning as well that we can integrate it via cost centers. Again, integrating with different systems, different legacy systems, we can ensure that cost centers and anything essentially that's required, that's unique into your business, can be configured through onto this portal.
Yeah, some important points there. So I'm just going to place the order, and we've just placed an order as quick as that. So pain point wise, we've the speed of the order, we managed to reduce a lot of times. We were able to showcase the products, so the availability. So we've resolved those, and having a store online is what you see here. So for the use case, I think kind of.
No, definitely. And one thing that I think we really want to mention as well is that what you see here is a desktop. We're using a computer, but again, what we want to do is bring this from an omni-channel perspective. If you're walking down the street, we want to be able to provide a user the ability to order something. They're like, oh, I need to buy product A, and they can do that on their mobile. Or if they're in the office and they are using an iPad, or they're viewing stock, and instead of running back to the computer, they can go and they can order it straight from their iPad. But also, for example, from a salesperson perspective, if they're using an iPad to interact or show products to the user, they can use that iPad. Again, what we're saying is this can be configured to a number of different interfaces. So it is really a very interactive online shop.
Exactly. Actually, additionally, I'd like to point out that I think, as some of you may already know, how the process of placing an order and what you can expect after placing an order. So when you place an order, you would get an email to say that you placed an order, and perhaps you get a follow-up email to say what status the order is in, if there are, depending on the status. And so those can be configured. If there are any other third party you'd like to introduce or to integrate with the system at a point of after ordering, those can be configured as well.
Cool. So shall we move on to use case B?
Let's do it.
So let me just move on to the next one. you can see our little car that we're like showing that you can drive along the road to success. So the next use case is an order review journey. So again, what we want to discuss here is actually the user going back onto the platform and reviewing their orders, reviewing any information about that, understanding what their previous order details were. So again, one big pain point that we were discussing is often based on face-to-face sales, you have to wait, or you have to rely on texts, or a much slower system. You can go back, you can check, you can see the price, you can see the order details. It can help inform your stocking, etc., and so on. But again, through integrations, this will be much easier by using this online shop. But some of the pain points here, yeah, again, is data, just accessibility in general, and really we want to enhance self-service. I think one thing that a massive pain point within traditional manufacturing sales is there's a lack of self-service. Some of the opportunities here is, again, we have various functions completely adaptable based on what our customer needs are. We have a unified view of customers and sales across departments. It really does help improve retention because the customers know that they can go back, they can see, they can query, etc. And as well, it helps make data more valuable, consistent, data you can utilize even on social media, for example. But yeah, there's so many options here. And then through those integrations that we'll be discussing, again, it makes everybody's life in general easier. So, well, I'll pass it over to you to demo.
Thank you. So let's head back over to the demo. And as I'm already logged in, what happens is if I go to the home page, it will take me to the account overview. So if you're logged out, you'll have a different home page. Those can be configured to the business requirements. And there's another case where perhaps you don't want to direct the user to the account overview page. You want to direct them straight to the product listing page. Those can be configured. So the pain points that you pointed out, which is lack of self-service, device accessibility, and managing customer relationships, right?
Yeah.
So having a dashboard like this will help with.
Yeah, it's a one-stop shop, isn't it?
It's all, if not majority of it. So talking about freeing staff, we can give them an opportunity, give them the option to be able to contact the help center, go to the help center and perhaps search for particular topics that have been answered
like an
before.
FAQ essentially, isn't it?
An FAQ. So, in this case, for the account overview, we've got a widget to allow them to go to the help center. But obviously, if there are different features or functionalities you'd like to introduce here, those can be configured. And so just having a simple information about the person who's logged in. This is not limited to just the information about the user. This could be about the business, and the news and updates for the company could be something that's useful. Perhaps it's something that internally they have a news feed. Yeah. They could be integrated with this, or social networking. They can be integrated into the system so that the user is updated with the internal news.
And I think that's something we're very used to as users from both a consumer perspective, but also in our business professional lives, as we always need and want to be updated. So this is, again, a really, really lovely functionality to have.
Exactly. I think another important thing to add to this is things such as chatbot. So we haven't got it on a demo here, but that's something that can be configured and things we've done before.
And I think talking about like chatbot or live chats. So again, that's something where, again, you can see in the account overview that customer services rep can see who's contacted them, see what data they have on the CRM system about them. But I think it's just one use case from Portaltech's experiences that we have exploited large language models to create or make customer service processing time from 25 minutes over the phone to 3 minutes, or 3 minutes using a live chat on average. So really something that we can integrate and something really, really valuable. Yeah.
So this just dive in. Let's just elaborate a little bit more about accessibility, which is one of the
Yeah.
pain points that we're trying to demonstrate here that we can solve. So for freeing up your staff, like mentioned earlier, just having that all the information required, so you can free up your staff by having such things as a dashboard where users would be able to gain information they require wherever they are and whenever. So where I say wherever they are, so it could be anywhere around the world, and they could be using a tablet, a phone. And what you will find is with stores that we built, such as this, they are responsive by design. So it's quite effortless for us to be able to accommodate and support devices such as mobile, tablet, and desktop. I want to just focus a little bit about the order history, because I think it's a quite handy little widget to have on the dashboard. And again, as mentioned, things can be configured as the business require. If you want to configure and customize, personalize the particular widgets, what the user will see, those can be configured easily. So if you've gathered some data and you feel that, okay, perhaps actually the order history should be on top of the page, because when the user logs in, it's more important for them to see the order statuses, things just such as that. So once you've gathered all those data, they can be configured as and when the business requires. So order history, we've got order statuses. This order that I placed earlier, which you'll find with this total has been created. So I can go into that product. So in the product details, the functionalities that are here are things such as reorder, being able to buy that particular product again. So as you see, there is nothing on the cart page here. So I'll give you a quick demonstration on how the reorder functionality works. So if I click on the reorder, what I should expect is all the products to be listed into the cart page, into the cart, which as you see here has been updated to 3. And then also there's an option to be able to export the product into a CSV file. So this will list all the product information. So you can import them at another time, given that you've placed this order before and you know what products you want to add. That was a quite handy functionalities that's there. And here in the cart page, which I've kind of demonstrated earlier, I won't demonstrate it now, but so you can just proceed to the checkout as fast as when I did it the first time. For save carts, let me just save this cart very quickly. And so your cart will be emptied. But then if you go into the save carts, it will be shown here. And then if you make this cart active, it will re-add everything into the cart. So if you now head over to the cart, then you can proceed to checkout. So we've kind of given a simple demonstration on how we can free staff by giving them a dashboard and unifying all the information, being able to access all the information, all of that.
And I think as well, like any of those widgets that you see can be turned into pages. So I think if we go back onto here, again, order history can be turned into a page. Any invoicing can be turned into a page. So again, it's very flexible and very adaptable based on the customer.
Personalization is the key thing as well here. Yeah.
Personalization.
Being able to personalize for this user, for example. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Okay. So then our final, just before we go into our final point, again, we can see that there are essentially improving self-service here is something that is very important. And I think it alleviates salespeople's time, but also makes the customer experience far more delightful if they can just go and find that invoice or find what happened in that order, what the status of that order is, etc. And again, that's purely configurable based on any ERPs, CRMs, etc. So moving on to our final use case, and our little car is at the end.
Almost there.
Almost there. Is looking at assisted service mode, so ASM. So that is something that, again, to provide some context again, this is something that could happen in a situation where the user doesn't have internet, and something needs to happen quickly, where they need to actually be in contact. Because again, we're showing a very, in most cases, having this up-to-date process is up-to-date online shop is really good, but there might be a case where there's a situation where they need to be in contact with customer service, and customer service can go in and do that. Now, again, we have some pain points here, and like ensuring the customer relationships are really well dealt with, and on ensuring that integrations are done. Also ensuring that privacy is something that's really important, and something that we want to discuss is ASM is very secure. Certain information that's data what's the word, compromising is protected, but you can still get customer insights. You can keep them updated. The customer can still refer back once they're reconnected to the internet. Let's say to actually see using the functionalities that we've discussed. And then, yeah, I think as well, just overall, it's a really good way of helping make sure the customer journey is delightful. So, Will, I will pass over to you.
Thank you. Yes, this ASM is a very, very good feature, I feel. So let's demonstrate on, so you guys can get some ideas. So first of all, I need to be signed out, because we are going to be acting on behalf of a particular user, a customer. So in this case, I'm going to be an agent. And as mentioned, I'll be acting on behalf of the user. So,
and just while Will signs in, again, this is something that we are very knowledgeable on, and we can provide very clear, comprehensive training to any of those customer service agents who would be doing this on the customer's behalf.
Exactly. So I'm logging in as an agent. Somebody's called me up and said, a customer's called me up and said, can you please place an order for me? I'm unable to do so right now. No problem. I'm signing as an agent, and I look for this customer. So I'll type in the email address, and this is the customer, and I click on start session. So once I've started the session, instantly I'll be logged into the application, and I'll be logged in as that user. In this case is Blue Medic customer. So I'm logged in as this customer. Same thing as I've demonstrated previously. You can do more or less everything here, but there could be a case where, in fact, you want to put a limit on what the agent can see. This can be configured quite easily. So, you know, for the navigation, what personal details, those can be limited, just depending on the business requirements. So there are ways for me to be able to place this order for the customer. So I can go to the product listing page, or I can search for the products like I've demonstrated previously. Or if the customer actually, in our case, the customer's actually said, I've actually placed the order before. I would just like you to replace the order for me. So given that I've demonstrated to you guys how useful the saved, the order, being able to go to the order and reordering, let's go through that. So we want to be able to just reorder the latest order that the customer's placed. So I click into the order, or if the, you know, and then I can just click on reorder. So now that's been added to the cart, and I just go through to the cart page, and I will proceed to the checkout. And that's it. I've placed an order on behalf of the customer. So now the customer will get an email to say that an order has been placed, and they'll get follow-up emails to say to tell them the status of the actual order itself. But then if they really wanted to as well, they can just go into the account overview or the order history page to be able to see.
Exactly. And once, say for example, they're out of internet, they're somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and they've lost signal, or their computer's down or something, they can go back once they're reconnected, or once they're able to do that, and they can see the purchase just as the same as they would as if they had ordered it themselves?
Yeah, so just being able to have this option and just making sure that the user, in whatever case, there could be different cases, right?
Exactly.
Whatever case, customer service is always there, and an order can be placed. You know, so I think that's the most important thing, is just being able to make sure that letting your customers know that you're always present to be able to assist. And how it's quite beautiful to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're freeing your staff in an online.
Yeah, it makes staff's lives easier, but also it's from, I think, accessibility and user experience are so important. Like, there's nothing worse than going onto our website and things are slow, or there's nothing worse when you can't actually access that help when you need, or what you need when you need it, type of help. So I think with what we've shown you, you can see 3 robust use cases of what we can do. But again, these are not limited. There's so many aspects that we can do. But again, we've been talking for just over 40 minutes. So I think just before we open up to the floor, we just want to have some reflections on what the future looks like. So making sure your customer is having the best interactions possible, making sure that it's fast, there's less bureaucracy, but also being there for your customer when you need them. Ensuring that, again, in this ever-changing world, that you're leveraging data, making sure that, again, data, if the data is unstructured and valuable, there's nothing worse. So it's making sure that you're leveraging that properly, leveraging aspects such as AI. 2 years ago, we didn't know what ChatGPT was. Now, a lot of us are actually using ChatGPT to enhance those experience, to integrate, but also thinking about unifying interactions as well. So really strengthening customer loyalty, ensuring that, especially within spaces such as manufacturing, for example, where it is a bit further behind on the digital life cycle to others, is ensuring that the interactions are better and aspects such as legacy to platforms, etc., are integrated. So I'll just quickly go through our final steps. So first of all, security is important, and making sure that login payments is completely secure, making sure that it's comprehensive. So that's actually having a holistic view of data across your e-commerce system or your online shop with your ERP, your CRM, eventually even CDPs, etc. And then making sure that that is data-driven with valuable data. So that is using analytics, understanding your customer order history to ensure to give them a personalized experience, but also an omni-channel experience. That's something that's really possible, and what we have worked on before. Integrating aspects, so integrating product information, stock information, being able to see how much stock there is, being able to make sure that that price is relevant to that customer, and also integrating it via devices, making it accessible anywhere. And our last 2 points is making that delightful, being able to save carts, do the small things that make life a little bit easier. So comparison, making sure that experience is like a B2C commerce that a lot of us are used to. And even, for example, making sure that if you wanted to even negotiate a quote and discuss face-to-face on demand, that is something that really we can provide and makes that journey just a little bit more delightful. And finally, that customizable aspect that Will's been discussing is having those live chats, chatbots, but also thinking about what information do we want to show? What information do you need to show? What are your preferences? What are your customers' preferences? What are the payment options, etc.? These are all something that we know, and also we can help and really enhance. So with that being said, what we'll do is we will move over to our Q&A. So we have some questions coming in. Oh wow, we have quite a few actually. So first of all, how can I ensure that the investment in our current ERP system remains valuable when introducing a new commerce system? So I think, again, based on the tool, for example, such as SAP, and ensuring that we have those integrations are available. SAP ensures that those integrations we have the expertise to come in and discuss what your requirements are, discuss and scope what those systems are, understand the systems, integrate them, and I think as well, using SAP B2P, for example, business, it'd be SAP B2P, not B2B, business transformation platform, we can really help leverage and ensure that ERP systems are remaining valuable as well. But again, when it comes to having a project for that, we would probably need to have that in a couple of phases, an integration phase, but also a discovery type phase, as well, or a configuration phase, so to speak. I hope that answers your question. The next one
is, if we use an EDI system, how can we integrate it with the new commerce system to display order placements and their statuses to our customers?
So I think what we would need to do is we would need to ensure that that is connected with our portal, but also the ERP, and then based similar on the question that we have before, on the answer that we've had before, is we would be using that ERP to then interconnect that EDI system through the commerce portal. But again, that's something that we would want to be helping with in terms of any discovery and implementation. We would be discussing that and understanding the business.
More details. And I think we'll just go with one more question here. It's looking ahead, how is your platform adapting to the emerging technologies, particularly AI?
So
in regards to AI, obviously it's going to require a lot of data gathering. So the more we can integrate data systems that perhaps captures data, we can integrate them to the system to understand the customers. And given that AI helps a lot with that, so there could be a certain pattern that a user performs in placing an order to navigating between pages through the application. Once we understand those, obviously AI can then paint a better picture on what type of user, how the user interacts with certain things, then certain features that will help them and guide them. So those are the kind of the things that can benefit from something like an AI,
And I think as well, we are always, as Portaltech, we're always training ourselves up on the latest updates, and we're also going to events and really making sure that we are spending time understanding about those constant changes, those aspects with AI. Myself, I went to an event last month, or it was 2 months ago. Goodness, it's May. I went to an event with some of our tech team, really to understand a bit more about what SAP's doing, but also then looking from other platforms as well. Again, that's something that we are always willing to learn and continue our learning journey.
Actually, also personalization, like you mentioned earlier, the chatbot. So having something like a chatbot personalized to the user, once the user understands, once AI have kind of gathered enough data to be able to kind of either categorize or understand what the user needs are, they would be able to provide answers quite easily and matches the questions,
Exactly.
Things such as that. It will definitely be such a more engaging and more customer focused.
Exactly.
AI can be used for such things.
Exactly. I think AI is just a learning journey for everyone. We're all learning, and something that we are really excelling in at Portaltech. But is there any more questions coming in?
I think for the questions, we'll leave it as for now. If there are any other questions, we are always happy to answer those questions. And if you're unclear of what we've demonstrated of the presentation, we are always happy to there's a email address.
So if you have any questions that you've forgotten or that you might think about after this session, again, you can see here, you both have Will and I's email address that you can reach out to us. Or if you have any questions, again, we have LinkedIn, there's all these aspects. And if we can't help, we can definitely point you in the direction of the right people who are able to help. So I think we have spoken at you for quite a while. I hope this session really brought some insights, maybe brought you some inspiration into what you can do in the future with your businesses, and that's something that we would be more than happy to help assist you all with. So from that being said, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting many of you soon.
Thanks for your time, guys.